Let's go into game 2, though, see if they can enter back.
That was only one game. We have another one coming up. Elevate versus Eager. Picks and bans. What do you think we're going to see different?
I expect to see Eager maybe look to make sure they take away this Vulcan away from Truancii. Truancii had a fantastic game on that. His positioning was pretty much on point. Like I said, his turrets were on place, landing those meatballs and backfires. When you're in the zone, sometimes it takes a while, but when you're in that zone, you're in that zone. And Vulcan's one of those gods that if you get in that zone with, he'll cause a bad situation for the enemy team. Guan
Yu banned out by Elevate Nemesis, banned out by Eager. No big surprise there, but it's going to be the Battle of the Guardians, unless they go ahead and ban them all out.
Well, with Zeus being banned out this time by Elevate, so they don't want Eager to have it. That ban from Zeus is very, very smart from Elevate. First of all, it means that you're not going to see it on the side of Eager, but at the same time, it guarantees you either Fafnir or Terra in this first pick.
Which one would you prefer right now? I think Terra's a little...
Depends on team composition-wise. I mean, if you're going to go for hyper carries in terms of everything here, you probably want the Fafnir so we can coerce them and give them even more power. Although Terra has that global ultimate, so you've got extra mobility on your team, very good wave clear for dominance in lane, so you can put a weak Hunter in the early game with her as well, which will allow them moving forward as well. What I want to see out of Eager with the final ban, though, is that they don't ban either.
Yep, they're going to go ahead and ban out Freya, so we will... I mean, at this point, both of them are available.
Exactly, and now it's the question of which to Elevate prefer here. They could actually not pick either right now.
They could.
It's risky because Eager could take Terra for the solo lane, but if you leave both up and just take one more priority pick for themselves, maybe a jungler, then Eager are the ones like, are we taking Fafnir or Terra? Because we've got to make the question first of all and answer it, because Elevate don't give us the question. That's what I wanted to see out of Elevate. Go for a jungler instead.
My favorite thing about Terra, though, is that sustain, and Eager tried to have that sustain comp, and I mean, like you said, Susano going to get picked up. Jungle going to be the first pick for Elevate.
Picks and bans are such an important mind game between teams, and recognizing the situation that you put other teams in, very, very big. Eager recognized that with the Freya ban, make sure they take that one away from Keegs, but then Elevate also said, well, listen, we're not going to be pigeonholed ourselves, first of all. Yeah. What we'll do is we'll take priority in the jungle and make Eager force a decision, and there is the decision.
Yep, going to go ahead and pick up Terra. Another sustain god coming out from Eager. We saw it a little bit last game. Didn't necessarily work in their favor when it came to the late, but Terra, very strong, especially with that monolith.
I love the Vulcan pick, though, from him as well. Take that one away from Truancii. Delta Marine had a fantastic game in it earlier against Aware, so not a surprise to see him take that one. Good little combo there. Potentially, I'm not sure if we've seen it on console just yet, but Terra Jingwei is a composition that we have seen run on PC before. We'll see if the console guys do look for that one. That's why they could have actually left Freya up there, which is the most interesting thing for me. Leave Freya up, let them pick Freya, and then run Terra Jingwei into it.
Yeah, but instead, not going to go that way. Ravana picked up for the solo and a Xbalanque for Elevate.
Well, that's a bit of an interesting one from Elevate here. Not picking up the Fafnir right now means it will be banned away by Eager. I expect them to ban Fafnir away from Elevate. They shouldn't be giving it to Rippin holes here. They should be making sure he's banned so he's not got that available.
Well, Soul going to get picked up. I mean, very flexible picks, but I don't really see Vulcan ADC.
No, not really.
Too much on the console, so more than likely going to be Soul ADC.
And that wave clear advantage for Eager is huge in the duo lane already. Even though Elevate haven't picked their support just yet, is Jumpahh's wave clear not as impactful as Soul's? Then add Terra to the mix with her wave clear of the monolith route. Is going to do so much damage to that wave. It's going to be very difficult for Elevate in the duo lane. I could even see the potential of Rippin holes maybe if he doesn't get the Fafnir because he gets banned, or if he doesn't want to go Fafnir. Look for the Capri again, just to allow the extra wave clear to answer things back.
So, what would you pair up with the Xbalanque, aside from the Capri that we saw earlier, just to give us a little bit extra wave clear? Ice is going to get banned out, so Fafnir's still going to be up.
Yeah, I mean, Capri, Fafnir, Fafnir's not going to be great for wave clear, but he will give that coerce in the later stages of the game, which will really make Xbalanque swing for the fences even more as time goes on. Capri's an option. The other ones, I guess, are available. I mean, Bacchus isn't too bad, although he doesn't have a great matchup against Terra. Odin could be a potential thing here, because Vulcan and Terra, both very weak to Odin, anti-heal on Terra, and Vulcan can't escape the ring as well. I wouldn't mind seeing an Odin, but then you've got sort of 4 physicals and only 1 magical.
Ratatoskr banned out from Elevate, that global presence. I mean, I was surprised to see a lot of Ratatoskr, but we've seen it week after week after week. He's such a good pick now.
I'm almost tempted to bait myself into picking Odin here if I'm Elevate.
Really?
I mean, you've got the Vamana, Vulcan, and Terra. None of them can escape the ring, and 1 ring ultimate could spell disaster for Team Eager here. That's kind of why I'm like, you don't necessarily want 4 of the same here, but an Odin in that situation, I think you could understand why.
Then why the Ice ban when you could have put Odin if you know you're going with all these characters that don't have a jump?
Potentially, yeah. I mean, the Isis ban, you don't want to deal with it because Isis is going to be in the mid lane more often than not. But Hub War locked in. And here's the thing, if they were going to run the Hub War here, now I like the Athena overall, it kind of makes sense, the taun's going to be good still. But if they had the Odin with the Hub War composition here, they could have trapped them all in the ring and Hub War gets a guaranteed free ultimate off onto potential multiple targets. None of them are healing either, so it's going to really shut them down a lot. Although, I understand Elevate's trying to thought of not picking the Odin because of the 4 physicals.
Yep, and Awilix picked up for Eager to round off the roster. The Vamana into the Ravana pick. Ravana and Vamana.
Well, to be fair, that lane is pretty even between the two. Ravana should dominate early until Vamana gets levels, although if Vamana plays it well enough, he can trade out and actually win the lane early game against Ravana. It's not the easiest thing in the world to do, but as the game goes on, Vamana is going to make more of an impact for your team in terms of a whole team fight. Straight up, though, if you do have Niqued on Ravana, he's just going to be looking for a single target to take out of the fight, potentially box on 1v1, and this time he should probably be looking for Delta Marine if he can try and get onto him, although Delta Marine's not the easiest target for him because Vulcan's pretty good with those knockups at getting away these melee warriors.
Just a smidge. I like the fact that we saw Niqued go deep into the enemy jungle, throw down that ward in the speed camp.
Yep.
That way they see that rotation, they know, okay, well maybe they're going mid camp, or they know exactly when it's coming down. Jellly, however, making sure there's no invade.
It does a lot of things for you here. By having that ward down, you can see the items early on and see if they've got Wrath, like Jellly does have the Wrath this game. Also, if you don't see them on the map, you know they may be looking to invade as well, which could be an interesting one. So you actually just go through and see exactly what's going on the map, where people are positioned, what camp they're starting with, and do we need to adjust things based off what we expected them to start.
Then why don't we see that more?
Generally, these wards do go down, but not necessarily right in the camp. Normally, you put them in the edge to see how quickly they're making the rotation between the camps as well. And also, if you don't see them there, you're not sure whether they're invading or doing backs or doing right-hand harpies or doing blue buff at the start. You just don't know.
Fair enough. Well, sustained game coming out from Team Eager. 2 Vampiric Shrouds are on the map. Hebo, however, starting to go build into that Warlock Sash more than likely, while Truancii heading towards that mid lane.
Now, Truancii starting with the Warlock Sash early, it means he's going to have a bit of an interesting time of things here. A little lack of sustain, but he starts with a little bit of a base health pool, a little bit more. Going to be a rough matchup for Delta Marine early on, and obviously the wave clear a little bit stronger for Hub War early just because of how quickly he did the red buff and got there in time.
Niqued, however, finally get back to his lane. 2 members from Eager here, but shouldn't have too many issues clearing out the lane, but that's going to be a rotation over to the Fire Imps coming out from Team Eager.
Oh, I was saying because I actually thought Eager might look to try and rotate in there and swing around the back and collapse onto Hub War, who's only level 2 and doesn't have his wet paper available just yet, but instead they went for the farm and back to farm and go elevate, and they're in a good position now because of it.
I mean, it's a little bit of a safer pick. You don't want to get too aggressive early on, but Jumpahhh on that Susano definitely going to get a nice pull, and I mean, a little bit of damage.
Interesting matchup between the Vulcan and Hub War, though, as time goes on. Knockups very, very impactful for both of these two, allowing them free setup. Keegs going to get away just about in that left-hand side, and there's the push power coming through from Eager. And I think that's one of the reasons we see the Athena as well, to be fair. The wave play's pretty good on her. Odin, like I was saying, would have been useful for that as well.
I mean, just a little bit. I like it though. But 1 minute, 29 seconds in. Haven't seen too much aggression coming out. A couple of missed opportunities, but both teams want to play it safe. Elevate have already taken a game on, but I mean, Myflin is no exception.
Now, for the most part, I expect most of the aggression will be in the middle lane between the two there. This lane will poke out pretty evenly, but there's plenty of sustain on the side of Eager, and you'll just see Elevate fall back to the tower edge if they have to as time goes on, especially with Transcendence online for KeegsMate here. He's going to have 3 health potions, 3 mana potions in this lane. He can just sustain back up under the tower,
and that definitely works out for him because they don't have that kind of sustain that Terra's going to have with the Monolith. Plus, I mean, you get out a little bit easier with the Soul, but Dwurst doing a little bit of good lane clear, getting out of Niqued. I think that's the best part. He's almost as slippery as Ravana.
Well, it's also the matchup that they've got here. Niqued's expecting to take a little bit of poke off this because Dwurst will poke him with the Umbrella Rank through the wave, and that's why you see him going for the Death's Toll here. Not going to go for the extra boxing potential, but the sustain option. Meanwhile, Dwurst with that Bluestone Pendant, it does increase his lane clear a little bit more, which helps out a lot.
How come we're not seeing more ganks, more early aggression coming out from these junglers? Jumpahhh definitely has the potential, and Jellly, too.
They do have the potential, but at the same time, you really want your ultimate online to really secure something more often than not. Those ultimates being available gives you that extra boon of confidence. And not only that, if you rotate to a fight and you're only level 4 and you die, well, you're going to delay hitting level 5 even longer, plus you're going to give up first blood, plus you're going to give the lane that you're ganking an advantage against your opposition to your own team.
Xbalanque having a little bit of a hard time getting that wave clear. I mean, early on, he's level 4, hasn't quite hit level 5. Plus, Team Eager are putting on the pressure, making sure that he's missing out on some of this good poke coming out. Truancii taking a lot of damage, forcing out the ultimate and Jellly.
Standard ultimate coming out from Truancii there in response. It's pretty much what you'd expect to see. Truancii gets focused on. Now, what actually helped him out there was going for this Warlock Slash, this uncommon slash early on. Gave him the health to actually weather the storm with that full engage. If the Vulcan ultimate would have been fired by Delta Marine, though, there, at the right position, expecting Truancii to go for that ult, which we all expected, he could have potentially killed Truancii on the ending of that ultimate.
Yeah, but decided to go ahead and back up. But
Safe and sorry.
Yeah, I mean, Keegs the only one here in the lane right now. A little bit of extra clear coming out. Athena, we're going to start seeing her rotate.
Well, she doesn't have to rotate too much early on. Obviously, she's got the ability to rotate anywhere on the map with that global ultimate. However, Eager going to abuse the fact that they're continuing to push in this lane and steal away some camps in the jungle. Very wise, just to give them more of a gold lead and give themselves some extra experience.
Every little bit counts. Truancii is here by himself. Now, okay, here we go. Rotating, coming out from Rippin hole is going to be able to take down this right mid camp because, I mean, those are going to be the biggest points of contention until we see that team fight potential coming out at the Gold Fury.
Can we see gold in hand, please? I just want to see what Truancii's got at the moment. 1,440 gold. He's going to be looking for this Warlock Slash very soon. Give him the health, get his stacks going as well. It's a very risky build to go for this way, but he's not been punished for it. You saw the attempted punish from Eager, but it worked out in Truancii's favor. Those stacks coming online earlier means he was a little bit more tanky now in this engagement and doing a lot more damage earlier in the game than you'd expect to. Keep an eye on the Hobwa for Elevate to really succeed here. They're relying quite heavily on him.
Elevate making the choices, deciding to go ahead and take their own buff instead of contest at those left mid camps. So instead they're going to lose a little bit of farm experience, but I mean, you secured your own buff.
Yeah, that's the main thing. Secure your own buff, even if you do cost them a couple of abilities overall, they're extra. These right elementals still being controlled by Eager, though. And the idea of Elevate with this composition they've drafted here, you see the Warlock Slash online, as I keep mentioning, for Truancii. Well, he's kind of had to go into this because of the fact that Xbalanque is a very late game carry over in the dual lane, and they need something to be available for the mid game, maybe even a little bit earlier on. And that's why he's gone Warlock Slash. It does give him a little bit more power spike earlier on, as well as his late game is still going to be as crazy as Hobwas is.
Jumpahhh on rotation, looking to try and catch Dwurst off guard. Niqued here as well, but it doesn't look like the Vamana wants to bite. Meanwhile, Eager taking the Gold Fury before anybody else can react.
Recognize the Wrath is online. You had a ward down earlier. You've seen Jellly for the first 5 minutes of this game already, and you knew he had Wrath available. You've got to ward that goal for you. You've got to keep an eye on the rotations. And if you see people missing on the map, you've got to expect, with a Vulcan on that team as well, they're going to bring down the Gold Fury very quickly. Eager just recognizing their opportunity, take it and Elevate. Failed to respond.
I mean, I guess I thought it was a little too early. I was thinking the same thing. 5 minutes and 50 seconds, but we've already seen our first Gold Fury. And I mean,
Gold Fury's health scales as the game goes on as well.
Right.
So he gets a little bit tankier as time goes on. Early game, the Vulcan, so the Wrath does 1,200 damage every single time, and that 1,200 is enough to secure a Gold Fury very quickly, as well as a turret coming through, you know, on the side of Delta Marine. It's extra poke. It's like an additional man in those situations.
Jumpahhh used the ult in a mini team fight engagement in the mid lane, but didn't really find anybody, didn't really get any headway either, so instead, they're going to start rotating, try to make up for that whiff.
This is a good call, though, because they're looking at the speed buff and the blue buff right now that Eager are looking to defend at the same time. Dwurst will rotate all the way through to his team, but pulled in there and now forced to ultimate.
Here comes the big baby, looking for the sustain coming out from the monolith, plus the stuns from the charge. Truancii trying to find the ultimate, will find it, and Delta Marine taking quite a bit of damage, but Dwurst going to be able to dish it out just as well. Niqued taking out Jellly, and now the chase is on to Niqued himself.
And Niqued's really surrounded here, especially with AirCougar rotating in, and Athena coming down in an awkward place. Oof. She's got to dash away too. Meanwhile, Jumpahh's already been forced out here on no health. They're running down Rippin holes who've got like 1 hit from death here. Meanwhile, Jumpahhh was trying to do his speed buff, and I think Eager might even give up the chase here, just knowing. Actually, I'm lying. Dwurst says no. They're going to get a speed buff off this Eager, and they're going to get a blue buff from the enemy jungle, as well as the first blood. Sorry, I believe the first blood went to Elevate, but still, Eager come up huge in that engagement that Elevate tried to force.
I mean, even if they did give up first blood, it was complete and total worth for the follow-up play. Now they're going to go ahead and take their spoils in the form of the right mid harpies, and then go back.
And credit to what AirCougar did on the sol as well. Rotated from the duo lane. He lost a full wave of experience for that in that lane and farm too, but it worked out better for the team as a whole. Keegs early game can't bring down the tower just yet, so he doesn't lose his tower, just loses 2 waves of experience. He's going to get the remnants of what's left there, but gets his team further ahead. Just look at the experience in gold. It's huge right now.
I always respect teams that know when to make those small sacrifices. You're going to lose out on a little bit of experience, or, hey, you might die here, but we're going to get a big objective.
Yeah, and that big objective was generally defending their own speed buff, first of all, but then finding the kills and the answer back in the speed and blue. Elevate could have potentially taken their own jungle just to reduce the amount of deficit they would have lost in their own side, but by doing that, they probably would have lost the window to go on Eager speed and blue.
Speaking of a deficit, looking at Hub War right now, Truancii having a little bit of a difficult time against this Vulcan. Look at that level deficiency.
And the main reason for that level deficiency was the last little engagement from Delta Marine and the boys of Eager. It wasn't like he was losing lane up to this point. It was more to do with that invade cost him. He lost waves of experience. He lost his own jungle too. So it just puts him further behind. The same can be probably said as time goes on with Jellly, who will slowly start to creep up on Jumpahhh. But at the moment, Jumpahhh, you know, doing a good job of farming where the rest of his team had died.
His CC right now, the pulls, huge nuisance early game. I mean, it's awful all game. But right now, that early poke and that potential is huge.
Completely true. And once again, like, this is a better answer back from Eager this game, just because of what happened last game to them. They're putting the pressure on to Elevate a little bit earlier in this game. These rotations have been a little bit forward and far forward. On top of that is Rippin holes. Now he's the aggressor this game and trying to make things happen.
Rippin holes looking for the taunt. We'll find it. The pull coming out from Jumpahhh as well, but that is going to be the Typhoon down, and they lost a lot of pressure, and they weren't able to take Eager out.
Mainly down to what Delta Marine did there. That turret placement was good. His knock up and backfire kept the boys of Elevate busy, and he made Truancii sit on his back foot a little bit more there. He wanted to go in with his ultimate if he could, but if he did, he would have died or potentially not found the kill anyway.
Rotation coming out from AirCougar as well. We'll go ahead and start putting pressure down on this tier 1 tower. And I mean, Rippin holes can't even do anything. Gonna get a good stun out from Truancii, Moonlight Charge, a little bit of damage. But I mean, they're really starting to put the pressure on this tier 1.
Yeah, meanwhile, just leave Keegs over in that left-hand lane. Keegs is gonna try and get the tower for response from Elevate there. I don't think they're too worried about that though. Even if they do lose that tower, that middle tower is so much more important.
I mean, that's a huge point to go ahead and go back to. All those team fights, all this action's happening in the mid lane. They're gonna lose their pressure coming out because I have nowhere to safely back.
Yeah, I mean, that tower in the mid lane is a bigger option there, as KeegsMate is going to have to use his ultimate there to get away from Myflin, who's giving chase because he's got his boys in support. Terra's blessing is here, but I don't think he can recognize there's a rotation from Elevate.
That's going to be the purification forced out from Keegs as well. Jumpahhh going to find the pull, but the disapparate will keep Soul safe.
Not only that, he'll also heal. However, Delta Marine going to get taunted, but a very quick purify backfire meatball combination gets Vulcan back to safety.
And now a little bit of a fight coming out from the mid lane, trying to lock down Niqued, forcing out the Mystic Rush.
Very, very early on that one. I think he was very concerned about being aggressed on by Eager, and because of that, Eager now have a power play at the goal here for a second time this game.
I mean, it's already dropping very quickly, putting all their pressure, all their CC, all of their abilities in to lock it down quickly. Plus, they have that Wrath to secure it, so they don't have to worry about Elevate jumping forward.
And then they actually pull in Jumpahhh, who's in a world of hit. He's already dead. Vulcan ult does hit Athena, forcing her back too. The carries of Elevate are scattered around the edges. Keegs can't really make anything happen for his team here from the position he's in. He's just got to go back to farming. Is Eager now are going to see a red buff is available for the taking.
Dwurst and Myflin wanted to keep chasing, but they saw that opportunity and didn't want to pass it up. Go ahead and turn around and start stripping the jungle from Elevate.
Yeah, this is a rough situation for Elevate to be in now. Kind of looking back at the Hub War pick now, and I mean, he's not had a terrible game, but he's not really been able to get in the fight because of the composition that Eager have put together here. It makes it very difficult for Hub War to go in and find these kills and the poke damage if he's always having to play on the back foot because his front line is not there anymore.
I mean, it's no coincidence that whenever they go ahead and poke out Hub War, that's when Eager go ahead and start bringing up these big team fights, these big objective opportunities.
Yeah, every single time this is happening though, and it's just working out so well for them overall on the side of Eager here. The next goal Fury, if this goes the way of Eager again, Elevate are going to have a very hard time coming back into it, and we're going to have to focus on that goal Fury next because it's so important.
Yep, we're about 12 minutes in, 1-4, 3 kills up are Eager. And I mean, the graphs looking pretty dire for Elevate.
I'm not sure about the composition they drafted overall. That's what I'm kind of looking back at now. I think Athena was still the right choice overall, but the follow-up damage just doesn't seem to be there this time round. The comp's not really working out. Xbalanque, a late-game carry, doesn't really do anything to the later stages. Obviously up against the Sol as well, so wave clear not going to be that impactful for themselves. Yeah, the Dockets and Knights does come in handy, but then once again, the sustain option is on the side of Eager one more time this game.
And they haven't been able to farm up the Xbalanque passive. He doesn't have any kills, no assists either, but I mean, the biggest thing are those kills. He needs to start building himself up for that extra magical power stacks.
Yeah, and with the Athena drafted here, like, it's a good pick for the taunts to set up stuff, but they could have potentially gone for Fafnir this game, which would have given them a little bit more frontline effectiveness, as well as the annoyance of being on the front line, and allow their front line to stay stronger in the fight. At the same time, it would empower Xbalanque going on, or the Odin, which would have helped them out a hell of a lot against his squad.
And Keegs really hasn't had the opportunity to start rotating. We see Cougs in almost every fight. AirCougar being a huge part with the CC, the Stellar Burst, the Supernovas, and Keegs hasn't been able to leave lane.
Good little work from Cougar there on the left-hand side there. He put a nice deep ward into the enemy jungle, and Jumpahhh was actually waiting around the corner looking to gank, but Cougar clearly recognized it, and in the end, Keegs was like, I'm going to drop a sentry just to check, and there was a ward just sat there, so Cougar knew what was up, and poor old Jumpahhh not going to find the gank he was looking for.
Wards win games. That vision is incredibly important when it comes to the jungle, those rotations. I mean, if Elevate want to try and get a leg up, they're going to have better vision than Eager, and right now, it's very hard.
It's almost like they should probably try and wait for Eager to go aggressive, because this is kind of the other way around. Eager had just sat back using this Vulcan, waiting for the Athena to dash in, or the Susano to dash in and find the kills. And if they can do that, it's causing them issues. I love what Eager are doing on the right-hand side, though.
It's an exact flip that we saw last game. Niqued going to try and keep aggressing onto Myflin, but both of them are going to be able to get away just fine. Meanwhile, Cougs forced into the Disapparate, getting a little bit of damage from Keegs, but still the distance was needed.
Fight's still going to keep going, because I think Keegs really wants to take this one. Poison coming through, but the minions are helping out too. Bowler Virus will help, and now Terra's Blessings online. This is going to be close.
It's very close. He only needs a couple more hits, and instead, there goes the jump. He's going to keep chasing, but now the Disapparate's coming through. Keegs taking a little bit of damage. Meanwhile, the rest of his team keeps fighting. Jellly able to take out Rippin holds, and that's going to be a disengage from both fights.
And so that fight goes on the left-hand side, granted, but Eager ended up coming out on big again by getting Athena and also the jungle away. Athena's ult was on cooldown there, so they abused that situation off that one. Keegs winning that engagement against Cougar was fantastic for him, and now he's able to sustain back up a little bit more with that Assy in that left-hand side. Is Eager, though, going to pressure the right?
AirCougar went back, took the left mid harpies, and now he's going to keep putting on the pressure from Keegs. AirCougar still has somewhere to fall back to if he needs to. Meanwhile, Niqued getting completely erased, just CC chained out, forcing out the ultimate, and Niqued forced back into the tower.
Yeah, Eager winning the 4v4 fight on the right-hand side is just massive for them at the same time as Cougar managing to hold the tier 2 tower and force Keegs back out as well, although this is a bait from Keegs, and Cougar doesn't recognize it. He will now, though.
Yep, here comes the Typhoon. Jumpahhh gonna find the kill very quickly. I was expecting a little bit longer.
Baited and outsmarted with what happened there.
Woof.
We saw Cougar actually do it back to him, though, over in the left-hand side, because Keegs thought he'd gone back to base, and Cougar came in from the side, got some free poke off, forced him back a little bit more. But a good rotation in from Jumpahhh, gets a free kill on that left-hand side for the second of Elevate this game.
We need more plays like that coming out from Elevate to really stand toe-to-toe with Team Eager right now. There's still about a 6,000 gold difference.
It's just so difficult to try and do that, though. I mean, finding people out of position on the side of Eager is not the easiest task in the world here. Most of them are going to stay clumped together, and the front line for them is just so strong. I mean, you've got Awilix that, yeah, she's front line. Technically, she's got a lot of mobility to get her in and out. Meanwhile, you've got Vamana and Terra that will body block you to high heaven, slow you down to high heaven, and then on top of that, sustain back up if they need to with the Monolith and the Vamana ult.
Definitely, but rotations coming back out from Elevate and Team Eager. Both teams are starting to sniff at this Gold Fury, put down a couple of wards, a little bit of a ward fight, but Myflin definitely going to keep an eye on there because he's going to be a big point with that Monolith and the sustain.
Yeah, this Gold Fury is very, very important here for Elevate. They cannot give this one up for free. Even if they lose this Gold Fury, they are only still in it if they win the team fight that goes off this one. They fall to this one, the gold lead is just too much for them to come back from, honestly, overall. It's about 6,000 gold lead already. This would put them closer towards 7,000, 8,000 even, especially if a team fight doesn't end up answering it back.
Experience pushing 10,000 in favor of Team Eager, and I mean, I don't want to say, I can say that Gold Fury or the gold difference isn't that bad, but when you start getting that high in experience.
Yeah, and it's also on the Hobwa level, 3 levels behind Vulcan, and then as well, solo lane is 2 levels behind the Vamana. Hunters of Riven, that's a big strength they've got. Xbalanque is getting towards late game, so it's up to Keegs. So Keegs should be the focus of Eager here. I think they should recognize that. They've already pinned down the rest of Elevate. If they take Keegs out of this one too, that could help him, and well, would you look at that? The poke's already coming through from Myflin.
Yep, and we did have a teleport coming in from the ward on the Gold Fury. Dwurst is now here to take the fight. Eager. Myflin gonna do his best to go ahead and try and zone out, but Rippin holes and KeegsMate gonna jump forward, but it doesn't matter. It's gonna be another Gold Fury for Eager, but now the fight continues.
And the ult went through from Truancii there, but it wasn't doing any damage at all. Keegs just pick up Jellly though, but Dwurst answers back to holds, thanks to the help out from Delta Marine and his ultimate. And Eager, they're on the warpath, they're charging them down.
And Niqued is so low right now. Dwurst definitely wants to find that knock up, find one more hit, but he's gonna get out of jail with that kick and go ahead and back off. Myflin not gonna be on the mark on Niqued, but will get Truancii.
But they're forcing all of Elevate back here. Look at the health bars here. If they try and defend this tier 2 tower, they're probably going to fall down too. Eager have the monolith, they have the turret to remove back dodge protections as well, and as well they have a soul to really shred them down.
Keegs forced to go ahead and jump on out once again, and there goes the tier 2 tower, no contest.
And that just extends the goal leave even further now. When we were saying it was about 6,000 earlier on, the Gold Fury would push them up to 7. Well, on top of the tier 2 tower going on, that's an additional 1,500 gold. You're looking at over 8,000 experience here, closer towards 9.
An Eager know to go ahead and extend their lead as best they can by taking everything out from the jungle, glean every bit of experience and gold off of this map, so Elevator forced to fight them.
But look at what Elevate are doing here. They're trying to force and catch people of Eager, but while doing that, they're taking just as much poke. Jumpahhh knocked down to about 75% health already before this one even goes on. And Eager, meanwhile, with that monolith coming out from Myflin, they can sustain back up in the jungle, and they're abusing that right now.
I mean, they're slippery, plus that sustain coming out, definitely not going to work in their favor. KeegsMate once again zoned out by the Vulcan, and now it looks like Dwurst is the only one here on the right side, but here comes Jellly looking in for Jumpahhh and Niqued.
Yeah, focus is definitely on Jumpahhh here. They're going to try and avoid Niqued as much as possible. Getting the Athena ult is also huge for them.
Ooh.
They also get the Xbalanque kill and still clean up the kill on Jumpahhh, and now they can continue marching on with round the back comes Delta Marine.
Delta Marine not going to find the pull onto Rippin, holes in the backline, no Awilix there, forced out the purification. Here comes the big baby though, not going to keep chasing, and the Vulcan ultimate going to be a little off mark.
Yeah, they're just too far behind right now, Elevate, to really contest. I mean, Eager, they have a lot of sustain. We were hoping to see a little bit more anti-healing myself out of Elevate this time around, maybe a Divine Ruin on the side of Truancii at some point, but he's not been able to get to that stage yet. He's not had the gold just yet, and Eager using that monolith to continue to sustain back up.
Every little bit of poke helps. Magma Bomb over the wall, knock up Niqued, but I mean, they're waiting to put this pressure onto this tier 2 tower. It's the last one on this side, and they're just waiting for the opening. Niqued might be able to give it to him.
This is very similar to a Guan Yu with a Terra. Just poke them out, sustain back up. Poke them out, sustain back up. They've got a Vulcan for that. They've got a Sol for that. It's doing very good work for them, and obviously the setup potential from Terra and those crushing walls really causes them issue, but now Niqued's forced in.
Niqued jumping forward. Here comes the Typhoon, though, forcing out the Sanctuary from Cougar, but Delta Marine going to be able to take out Jumpahhh, and now Truancii in a very bad spot. Jellly going to be able to take him out, and that's exactly what they needed. They have enough pressure to push through, and nobody's there. Elevate able to take out Niqued. Rippin holes forced out, and KeegsMate, all he can do is just sit at the side.
That was just frustration from Elevate there. They couldn't make anything work for themselves, and Niqued just like ulted in when he was at like 20% health, trying to make something happen, throwing a sort of a curveball to an extent, not expect him to engage like that. Well, that engagement didn't work out for Elevate. They didn't get anything going for themselves, and now they get decided, lose a Phoenix already, and the Fire Giant's the next option for Eager to go for.
Absolutely no reason why they can't go ahead and take that. Dwurst wants to go ahead and back, but that map is completely free. Jumpahhh and Truancii the only ones here. Keegs not coming back for another 20 seconds.
It's like chalk and cheese from game 1 to game 2 here. Elevate executed the game, knowing what Eager's game plan was, executed it very, very well at holding on. This time around though, Eager are not giving them even a slight window in this game. Even the Terra Blessing used there just to increase the healing a little bit more and the mobility to just get away on the disengage.
I said it during Picks and Bans, and I'll say it again now. The Terra sustain. Myflin doing a fantastic job. The Monolith, I think, is what has completely partially changed this game.
Yeah, can we check healing done actually this game? I just want to see how much Myflin has done so far. Just see how much healing that's been involved with Terra, and we do see it's only 8.7k. And overall, that's kind of low, but when you look at the player damage of the enemy team as well, 8.7k is a huge amount when you look at the fact that, well, he's done as much as Ravana has done damage.
Exactly, and that's no laughing matter there. Ravana able to get in, get out, do whatever he wants to do, and just completely wreck.
Yeah, I mean, if you take Athena and Susano together, Jumpahh's not been involved in this game at all, really, but those two together, he's still done more healing than those, so he's taken 2 of the damage dealers out with the sustain, and the sustain's coming at the right times. Keegs could be under pressure here.
Just a little bit, forcing out the jump, not going to find the CC or the root, but going to find the stun with the charge, and Myflin has plenty of health to go ahead and try and outlast this tower damage, but here comes Athena channeling in.
He's still on his own right now until Athena turns up, but 3 members now strong, and meanwhile in the jungle, Jumpahhh being pressured away from the red buff, so Eager isolating Keegs on this left-hand side. He's trying to get reinforcements through, but round the back comes the rest of Eager.
And they forced out the Susano ultimate here. Dwurst looking for Keegs, forcing out that Sanctuary as well in the backline. Big Baby just doing the work it needs to do, and Jellly taking out Keegs.
Elevate already realized they're so far behind. Now look at where we can see you. So Jumpahhh in mid lane farming. Niqued is still over in the solo lane farming away. Doesn't really care about his Phoenix being under pressure here. I feel like the boys of Elevate have kind of given this one up now, right now. Especially because Niqued's still on the right hand side as the Phoenix is being rushed and his team are about to lose their Titan.
Looking for the Titan, a huge chunk of damage taken out by the max range Vulcan ult. They're just going to go ahead and unload everything they have. Truancii trying to jump in and take out some damage. Instead going to get taken out himself, and that's going to be the game. A very different game that we saw the first round.
Yep. Completely different. I mean, the hardware didn't work for them in the mid lane at all. Truancii was not unable to do the same performance he did on the Vulcan in game 1. Completely chalk and cheese game there compared to between the two. Very, very good performance from Eager game 2. Very good performance from Elevate game 1. Split, boys.
That's going to be a split. Elevate going to get a point. Team Eager going to get a point. Elevate going to only be about 2 behind Eager, but Eager getting closer to that top, sitting about the middle of the pack currently.
Well, I mean, Elevate still have 1 more game to play here as well. And at the same time, most want to have the opportunity to go top here as well, but go back to that game. Honestly, overall, game 1 was all Truancii for me.
Definitely. I mean, Truancii did a fantastic job on that Vulcan. The placement of his turrets, the taking of the Fire Giant, there's the ultimate.
But look at how much damage it did to the other members there as well. The best thing about that a lot of people still don't recognize is that with Vulcan ultimate right now, when you fire it from max range, it's very difficult to hear it. And that means it's very difficult to escape from, especially because the landing time's a little bit quicker these days. It confirms so much damage in that fight and basically elevate the game.
Yeah, but here comes Dwurst in this next clip. After the Gold Fury, just chasing down, wants to find Niqued. We saw the knock up here. He just able to take as much damage.
Doing his job. Yes. That's all he had to do on the front side. Be on the front side, be Vamana, disrupt the backline.
Be obnoxious.
Keep the damage carries away. Like he was killing a solo laner at the same time as had Hobwa and Xbalanque both pinned, unable to do anything.
I mean, 1v3s, 1v4s. At one point it was a 1v5. Fantastic plays coming out from both. But yeah, that game was definitely in the solo. Yeah,
I'm very, very excited by how we saw Eager perform there and Elevate though. Both those teams are in hot contention for the top spot in Smite Console League at the moment. Although at the moment with how that set went, they're pretty even.
Yep, but we have more sets coming at you. Next set's going to be Team Elevate versus... Actually, no, it's going to be... Yeah, no, Team Elevate versus Team Eager.
Soar.
Yep.
Nice try.
Elevate versus Soar.
We'll be back after this break. Thanks very much for joining us. Peace!